Hi, welcome to Plan and Order, where we live all things life with a heavy focus on homeschooling. This is a second part video in a series regarding how we plan our homeschool for the year. In the first video, we covered the 8 key points used to plan for the year, and in this video, I plan to go over how I organize and schedule our curricula using Trello. So by this point, I have my curricula picked out and I have figured out how many days per week are needed, allowing me to be able to plan our weekly rhythm. And so here's a breakdown of how many days per week are needed to teach each curriculum. So for example, all about reading, I'm going to need to teach 2 days per week to be able to finish the curriculum in the 36 weeks that I homeschool. Now let's take a look at the weekly rhythm that we landed on using this information. Monday, we have math, ELA, and social studies. Tuesday, we have math, ELA, and Spanish. Wednesday, math, ELA, and typing. Thursday, math, ELA, science, and health. And Friday, math, art, and music. So now I have all the data I need to plug into the board. I just need to figure out how I want this all laid out. And this is what I landed on. The first board I created was this 2023-24 Curricula Board. And I created a list for each subject. ELA, math, science, social studies, VAPA, health, and electives. I decided I would load all of our curricula onto this board. Then when I sit down to plan weekly, I would move the curricula over to another board titled Weekly Schedule. My thought process behind this was to have what I needed done daily and weekly on a separate board than the board that housed all of the curricula, because I was afraid I would feel too overwhelmed with all this information in one area. And because I knew I would be using the Curricula Board as a feeder board for the weekly schedule board, I also added a list for some of the other dates that we brainstormed in part 1, including holidays, vacations, field trips, and extracurriculars. So with the main structure for our curricula board all planned out, I can start adding the curricula. Starting with ELA, which is the subject made of the most varied curricula, we have all about reading, first language lessons, writing with ease, wonders, which is going to be changed to My View literacy. So I basically went through and created a card for each lesson and a label for what curriculum it is. The card layout I chose most often stated the lesson, subject, and the date that the lesson was to be done. If I had a curriculum that was structured without clear lessons laid out, I would use a chapter or a title to identify the lesson. A lot of the science and social studies is that way. Chapter 1 review, kinds of animals, same with social studies. It wasn't really broken down into lessons, so that's how I identified what needed to be done. And then within each card, it usually has the teacher manual pages, the student activity book pages, and material lists. And if a lesson was more organic, such as Story of the World is for us, I just created one card to move around as needed with all the lessons listed on just that one card. So for example, Story of the World, it's just one card. You can see that there's 88 lessons on here. And the reason Story of the World is more organic for us, this is our favorite history curriculum so far, but it does lead to a lot of deep dives and rabbit trails. And so we spend a long time on certain chapters. We're in ancient Egypt right now, and we've been in this chapter forever because we just keep finding more activities to do, more supplements to add to it, just going down rabbit trail after rabbit trail. And so it's really hard to plan that out when you're just kind of moving through the curriculum organically. And so for those ones, we just will have the one card. And then within each card, it usually has the teacher manual pages, the student activity book pages, and material lists. So you can see the running theme of how I laid most of the curricula out. This theme is pretty consistent throughout all the subjects. Usually the more open and go a curriculum is, the more basic the card is. Two other labels I used a lot is the independent label and the supplemental label. So I work full-time at home in a position that is often in meetings for a good chunk of the workday. So I'm constantly trying to find ways that my daughter can still be productive with her lessons while I'm working, and trying to find as much independent work as I can for her to be, progressing through her school day, and us to be, both being productive. So if I know she has something that's copy work, which she can do independently, or something that's a video like Mystery Science, which is one of the reasons we're supplementing some of the science in with Mystery Science. She'll be going over this in bookwork. She'll be going over this in subjects in bookwork or activities, projects, but then also she'll be watching these Mystery Science lessons on them as well. And I know she can do that while I'm working. We're both on our computers. The supplemental label, it marks stuff that I found to add to her lessons to either better round them out, or maybe they're really fun additions that we just want to do. Maybe there's something that I know we're going to want to deep dive, like it's a subject that I know she enjoys. And these can be unit studies, videos, worksheets, board games, book companions, etc. That is really the main frame of how I plan our year out in Trello, logging every single lesson in here. Then when I come in weekly to plan for homeschooling, I basically take whatever dates are being moved over into the week. I move everything over into our weekly schedule. The goal is to have a month in here at a time. So all I'm focused on is the rhythm, the week that I'm teaching, and then the done column. Earlier I had mentioned having the non-school days and light school days, such as holidays, vacations, extracurricular, that sort of thing, which we brainstormed in part 1. I had mentioned having that in Trello as well. And so this is where I have it, like right after the end of the subjects. I have the holidays list and other important dates list. And so field trips planned out, and then holidays. So when I'm planning for the homeschool week, I'll make sure to slide those over when appropriate, when the day comes up. But yeah, that's how my Trello is set up in a little bit more detailed manner, and how I have the whole school year planned out. Hopefully if life shakes us up a little bit, it's really easy to pick up the pieces and get back to it with the way that this is laid out. My thought process behind this is kind of, while it was a ton of work, put in the work now so we can just really enjoy the school year and focus on learning and living life and having fun, and not planning, trying to get caught up and trying to, find solid ground. And so if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. You can also find me over on my Insta under Plan and Order. If you have any recommendations of things you want to see, or any deep dives in the curriculum that you see I have, that we're planning for the school year, put that in the comments as well. And then I can prioritize what videos I want to get up first. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a lovely day.